John, you're muted.
Thank you, Marcia. Um, Hoping you can all see my screen. Yeah. All right. I have Gregory Williams with me. Gregory is our advocacy campaign organizer. And so he and I are going to share a little introduction to Bike Durham and the work that we're doing and the ways that we may partner with y'all. Um, and I'm not a stranger to the coalition. I don't come every week, or every month, but a lot of friendly faces, and it's good to be with you. And I appreciate the opportunity to share more about Bike Durham. Um, let's see if I can advance these slides. There we go. Our vision for Durham is a place where Black, white, brown residents can have the community that most of us want, one that is inclusive and vibrant. And we believe that public transit, like buses, like bus rapid transit, microtransit, and safe, accessible walking and biking facilities are part of the path to giving us clean, healthy, affordable ways for everyone to get around. And the challenge is really that for too long, decades and decades, um, some politicians and wealthy corporations, the highway lobby, have sold us the idea that we can't have the transit we need, that the only way that we can build the communities that we want uh, are through highway investment and suburban development. While they profit off of that model, we all know that we suffer, and that model excludes a lot of people from benefiting from our communities. What we're working for is raising our voices together so that we can design and demand upgraded public transit systems, investment in complete networks for walking and biking, so that we can connect and improve our neighborhoods that will protect the air that we breathe, the water we drink, this community that we call home, and is part of the solution to climate change. The organization started out as in 2013 when residents came together, really just focused on bike safety, and hence the name of the organization. But in 2019, as the organization new members came in and they had different experiences, different perspectives, the vision and mission of the organization was broadened to safe, affordable, and sustainable transportation for everyone, regardless of who they are or where they live. And that means focusing beyond the bike to all the ways that people get around, particularly walking, rolling, and transit. Uh, and and we use advocacy and education and events to live into our mission, which is to empower everyone to walk, bike, or ride transit more often.
Um, in the work that we've been doing, we've come with some goals that we believe are aligned not only with the Durham Environmental Coalition, but with all folks who are serious about transportation reform. And so, one of those goals that we've worked pretty tirelessly towards is Vision Zero, which is zero deaths and serious injuries from traffic crashes. And our goal is to have that possible in Durham by 2045. As lofty as a goal as it seems, I've personally been able to speak with like the mayor and transportation planners in Hoboken, where they have had multiple years having achieved their Vision Zero goals. So that's a huge one that we are focused on. In addition to that, there's zero carbon emissions from our transportation sector by 2050. I think that goal speaks to itself in the importance not only to Bike Durham and the Durham Environmental Coalition. And then lastly, zero racial disparity. Um, of access by 2050. And that shows itself in different ways from keeping our buses fare free because it's obvious and documented the economic pitfalls and shortcomings that have been purposefully enacted in systems by like the wealthy politicians and corporation owners that were mentioned earlier, that make it harder for folks of different racial backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds to gain access. And then in addition to that, racial disparity of access, there's also an infrastructure component where we see in areas that are more affluent or that tend to look a certain way, you see much more investments in infrastructure that makes it safer and more dignified to walk, bike, roll, or use public transit. We're talking about sidewalks and ramps leading up to bus stops. We're talking about bike lanes. All of those different infrastructure pieces play into the racial disparity, and we'd like to see zero racial disparity of access by 2050. And transportation, or why this work matters for Durham's environmental goals. Transportation is the single largest source of carbon emissions in North Carolina, and Durham is no exception. In our strategic plan, we set a long range goal of helping transform Durham's transportation system so that by 2050, we have, like I said, the zero traffic deaths, zero carbon emissions, and zero racial disparity. But we're also very clear that reaching climate goals requires both cleaner vehicles and fewer car trips overall. That means people choosing to walk, bike, roll, and use public transportation, supported by safe streets and frequent, reliable transit. From an environmental perspective, this is all about reducing VMT or vehicle miles traveled, improving air quality, and making low carbon transportation practical for everyday life. When we get into my particular area of expertise is the organizing and advocating. Our organizing and advocacy work is focused on growing a movement with the power to deliver connected, complete walking and biking networks and world-class transit. In our strategic plan, we call for completing the networks of sidewalks, protected bike lanes, neighborhood trails, and neighborhood greenways, and also slower streets, along with a transit system that provides free, frequent, and reliable service accessible to people living in all parts of Durham and connecting the Triangle region. In the near term, our priorities include pushing for the continuation of fare-free Go Durham service, the implementation of the Durham Transit Plan, adoption of the Bike Walk Plan update that defines these complete networks, increasing funding commitments at the local, state, and federal levels to build them, and development rules that result in more people of all incomes living in neighborhoods connected with sidewalks, protected bike facilities, and frequent transit service. What that looks like in the things that we do, you'll see me a lot of times over the summer tabling at the Durham's Farmers Market. In the image there, we were supporting the Connecting Durham bonds. So that was the sidewalk and parks bonds, and just giving interested constituents information about our program, as well as answering questions about the bonds at the farmers market. Um, all sorts of things, really, just being out there talking to folks where they're at. Speaking at City Council, we've organized ourselves, our members, and other interested community members who just wanted a chance to have a voice but haven't gone to City Council, as it can be a little nerve-wracking for some. So giving them the opportunity to sign up, walk in with us if they want talking points, helping them organize those. So giving folks just a chance to have their voices heard there. And these things matter specifically for our environmental outcomes because transportation and land use decisions last for decades. If we continue to design streets primarily for cars, we lock in higher emissions and higher household transportation costs for a very long time moving forward.
Thanks, Gregory. Uh, the so the advocacy and the organizing to reach those outcomes is really the heart of Bike Durham. But in addition, we have other ways to connect with people and to build their skills so that as we have changes to the transportation system and the way that the community looks, people are ready to walk, bike, and use transit more often. We have a contract through Durham Public Schools uh, with to provide bike safety education to elementary school students. So we have two teams of instructors who go into schools. We bring the bikes, all of the materials, and offer that over four different class periods for each grade level um, in um, in the elementary schools at DPS. Then we also offer them these three levels of classes to adults and teens. We do that at Reese City, where we have co-working space. And our goal is to have about 300 people take those courses each year. And this year, we're setting up a relationship with the Durham Bike Co-op that people can earn a bike through taking a couple of those classes so that they are know the rules of the road. They know the best practices for being safe on the streets. And if they have a financial hardship of getting their own bike, we'll be able to give them a refurbished bike. We also have a grant through Central Pines Regional Council to offer travel training. So that is a combination of classroom or on vehicle or sort of experiential learning for using the transit system, both the Go Durham and the Go Triangle systems, using the scooter share or microtransit. So we have Ashley here on the far left of the left photo, who has um, been doing this for about a year and a half now, and some of the groups working with Vision Insights, who are visually impaired folks learning to use the microtransit system in addition to the paratransit system. It's been really rewarding. And right now we're at the Durham Center for Senior Life on an ongoing basis, um, every couple of weeks, helping folks to navigate those transportation systems. Um, And then the other way that we interact with folks is through building community in celebrations and gatherings. Um, We've got a slide that's forward on the next one about our monthly community meetings. So we move those around a little bit. Sometimes they're in Central Durham. The next one will be at Reese City at the end of the fourth uh, Monday of February, where we're talking about that adult and teen education program that's the 2026 season will be launching in March. We'll be at Antioch Baptist Church in East Durham in at the end of March, and um, so that's one way that we engage people on a regular basis. The biggest event that we do is in partnership with the city and the county. It's the Movable City Open Streets. We did that for the first time last October. We're in planning process for this October. It'll be the first Sunday of the month. And um, we'll hope to have even more partners. We had over 100 partners this past October, and more than 1,500 people turned out. And we're looking forward to doing an even bigger event this year, and would invite any of you to be partners and part of that event.
All right, just unmuting. In addition to those things, if we stay right here, every year we have our annual Ride of Silence, which ties into an international event where we go through, we gather, usually like at CCB Plaza. We have short comments, we have a moment of silence, and then we ride through downtown. Everyone's silent for that. And that is a way for us to pay our respects to especially cyclists who were killed in the previous year in crashes. And so that, and then like our World Day of Remembrance ceremony, are two events that are a little more solemn in nature, but really bring people together and foster that sense of community. And if you go back one, John, we also have started this year our bus stop bench building project, which we started planning for that in December in coordination with a larger project with the National Campaign for Transit Justice. And this year for Transit Equity Day, we actually went out and delivered 5 benches that were completely assembled by volunteers who helped us not only do bus stop audits by coming in on a Saturday and riding the bus together, getting out there with measuring tape and taking pictures and figuring out the right of way, monitoring how many folks are coming through for the time that they're there, putting in all of that effort to coming back on 2 separate build days, one of which was that community meeting that we mentioned earlier, to actually do all of the cutting. Some of it was pretty intricate and assembling of the benches. And then on Transit Equity Day, which a little background is celebrated on Rosa Parks' birthday every February 4th to highlight how transit is one of those true civil rights pillars um, of organization. And so when you have equity in transit, you start to see equity in other areas of life as well. And like we said earlier, the racial disparity in access also starts with things like infrastructure and having a bench in an area where an older person or someone who has to ride a line that doesn't come as frequently can rest, be safe, and be dignified in using our transit system. That's been coordinated with, I mean, last year we had multiple bus stop and bike lane cleanup events where we partnered with Dawn and Keep Durham Beautiful to go out to the village and clean up the bus stop, as well as clean up and sweep the bike lane using the bike lane sweeper that we borrowed from the Raleigh-based group Oaks and Spokes to clean up, I think it was a mile of the bike lane along Miami. So those are types of events that we put together to foster community and keep everyone together. Like I mentioned before, equity and access are central to this work. Equity is not an add-on to Bike Durham's work, and as a personal point of privilege, sometimes I think this can really be reflected kind of in where you come from and where you've been. Coming from the DC metropolitan area on the southeast side, when I look at bike culture, it's kind of funny. The average biker to me, growing up, was one particular guy. It was a black guy. He wear this big puffy jacket. He had a duffel bag, and he would ride without ever touching his handlebars. And in my brain, growing up, that was the biker that I saw and the type of person that got me into this work. And so we see, especially in a nationwide trend, disparity of folks who are disproportionately affected by lack of advocacy and effort in their communities to have this infrastructure it's a pretty wide gap. And so, like we said, equity is not an add-on to our work. And if we want a sustainable transportation system, it has to work for people in every single part of Durham. Our long-term vision explicitly includes eliminating racial disparities, like we said. And in practice, that means quite a few things, from supporting city prioritizations for investments in neighborhoods with long histories of underinvestment in sidewalks, crossings, and safe street design, to focusing our education programming for low-income individuals and communities and people of color, and continuing to pursue strategies to build a more diverse community movement, like partnering with Dr. Page and Antioch for the second time to bring our community meeting to East Durham, where we want to help advocacy to access. Over the next 12 to 18 months, there are a lot of things that we're focused on that we feel like we can move the needle on. Our work is centered on three really connected priorities, though. Strengthening our organizing for safe streets and great transit, and that means creating new opportunities for interested individuals and organizations to get involved and get trained for deeper involvement and leadership. The way that we're doing that is we're currently working on the curriculum for a series of advocacy trainings that outline things from identifying projects that would be good in your neighborhood, following the pipeline, going to city council meetings, going to joint city county work sessions, going to board of county commissioner meetings, and effectively advocating for those projects. And then keeping up with the city and holding decision makers accountable for the delivery of those projects as well. And then I think John can take it over here for our other priorities.
Thanks, Gregory. Um, and I'll say one other thing about the hands-on entry activity. We've also submitted a set of recommendations to the city for them to set up a program of community-led quick build traffic calming. And that would allow, they would create, this is something that a lot of cities have been doing. And we had an intern last summer, Dominique Barrett, who had conversations and did research into the different city programs. And we put forward a set of specific recommendations the city was welcoming, really as a complement to their other elements of their Vision Zero program. So this would allow community groups to directly make changes in their neighborhood. So these would be on city streets, not on NCDOT streets. Some of it would be enhancing um, curb extensions, things with art, some things, you may have seen in other parts of the city, or putting in something like planter boxes instead of just the posts, and committing to maintain those. So that's another way that we're trying to give people hands-on entry activities to this work. And then expanding our travel training and adult bike classes, we're really leaning into identifying organizational partners. So last year, we were able to make connections with AARP of North Carolina for them to promote some of our activities, and we're looking forward to doing even more of that with them. Other organizations like Church World Service, before they got really disrupted by the administration last year. Um, and we're right now in an outreach phase, and would love to hear from any of you about whether you'd be interested in learning more about opportunities to bring travel training or adult bike classes to your constituents. And then growing the Movable City Open Streets event, where this whole entire stretch of Blackwell Street, Corcoran Street, and Foster Street between the two greenways. So from where the American Tobacco trailhead is to where the Ellerby Creek trailhead is, that was all closed to cars for 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon. People could walk, bike, and roll. We had all sorts of activities and partners, and we want to just continue to grow that. So it really becomes an opportunity for thousands of people to re-envision what public streets can be, what it can feel like to be safe on our streets in Durham, and would welcome folks' participation in that this year. So just to reiterate, like, those are the three ways that we would love to work with you all. I know we've worked with some of you in the past, and so it can be around these volunteer opportunities or advocacy campaigns. It can be around the travel training or bike classes, the Movable City Open Streets, and maybe you have your own thoughts. I mean, Dawn has invited us to participate in Creek Week. And so we're going to be thinking about whether we've got the bandwidth to do that. But we are looking forward to strengthening our relationships with organizations in the coming year. And let's stop there and see what questions we've got. I'll just stop sharing for now.
How
John, I
many
have
folks?
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask a basic, like, how many people usually come out to your like your bike and transit training things?
Um, that has really varied, but they are most successful when we have a partner organization who is bringing together their folks and constituents, and we're showing up and delivering it. So with Vision Insights, we've been to a room of um, 30 folks or so, and we've found that when we've been just picking a date and a location and trying to advertise and get people to come to it, that those have not been terribly successful. So we're moving away from that to really building the relationship with an organization first and then delivering the types of programming that they want.
Maggie has her hand up. Maggie, did you have a question?
Yes, John, I'm sorry, I actually just arrived, but been meaning to reach out to you, wondering when is your next event and is there a good event we could partner to do a tree giveaway at one of your events we did last year?
So we do a community meeting monthly, and the next one will be whatever the fourth Monday of February is. And then the next sort of larger uh, event, well, and we'll plan some. Gregory will be working with some volunteers to plan some um, hands-on volunteer activities. So, when we did the bench build, the MLK Day, Gregory, you said there were about almost 30 folks there. So there'll be those opportunities, but they're not set in stone yet. And then the kickoff to Bike Month, I believe, will be the second weekend. I think it's the 9th now. And that gives us some time to plan. But maybe that's late for planting trees.
March 9th?
No, that was May 9th.
Oh, May 9th. Yeah, that is kind of late, um, but let's talk still.
Yeah.
Because part of my thinking is we do tree giveaways all year round, and when I'm giving out one tree to one person and I drive home, you need to take care of this tree because you're planting it so late. um you know I think that it's worth it in terms of building the awareness of the benefits of trees and proper care of them. So yeah, all right, so May 9th. It's actually nice because it's not a busy time of year for me. So, all right, great. Thank you, John.
John, I have a question about your strategic planning process because I've always been so impressed with your the clarity of your vision and the way you convey it succinctly. And I was just wondering if you have any like secrets or tips that you could share with all of us about like how to hone in on your messaging.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's nice of you to say. I don't always feel that way. I feel like it's sometimes all over the place. So we've been doing strategic plans about every um, 3 years, and that's about how far we look out. I think it's helpful that our mission has our three. It has advocacy, education, and events are the three ways that we um, try and influence both policy change and investment, as well as individuals' choices and their abilities to do walking, biking, and using transit. Um, and so then it's really like if we can just communicate about that, and then it's really like finding the programs or the particular opportunities that resonate and with that and the opportunities for policy change. Um, I would say on the travel training side we have been iterating a lot because we've started with doing our own classes, and it was, we're not getting a lot of uptake um, for that, and have had to change approach. Um, so I mean, that also becomes, I guess, part of our mode is trying things out and seeing what is effective and being able to make changes on it uh, as we learn from what's working and what's not working.
Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, John and Greg. Nice to see the progress with the organization and great work. Okay, so just to update folks on upcoming meetings, for our March meeting, we'll be hearing from a couple people with Durham County Soil and Water and Durham City Stormwater. And then in April, Alexandra is coming back to talk with us some more about Comunidad de Durham and Tuscarora Historical and Preservation Society. May we'll have our annual in-person potluck. So that's what's coming up. Okay, anybody have any announcements, issues they'd like to bring up, anything for the group whatsoever? And also feel free to post announcements in the chat. Just jump in if you've got anything you want to bring up, please.
Since John brought it up, I'll say that our registration for Creek Week cleanups is officially open. So if anyone here has an organization or a neighborhood or your church or something like that that wants to organize a cleanup of a space that is special to you, I will drop the link in the chat for the registration page.
Quiet group today. Everybody's thinking about how it's going to be warm tomorrow, right?
Yeah. I actually have a question for Keep Durham Beautiful. We're going to be doing a lot of seedling plantings, like kind of reforestation type. And do you guys have access to dibble bars that we could borrow?
No, we don't have any of those.
Okay. All right.
Pretty much just have
Okay.
shovels.
Lots of shovels.
Yeah, same.
They work well too.
They do. They do.
Similarly.
Yeah. All right.
So I think now you have to tell the rest of us what dibble bars are.
Oh, sorry. It's a planting bar. So it's this really heavy piece of metal that kind of has a square or rectangle bottom to it. And it has a T, it's like shaped like a T at the bottom and at the top. So it's just a bar. And it's so heavy that you kind of use the tool to dig your hole for you. You kind of lift it up and let it fall into the ground so it penetrates the ground. But then that T that's down on the bottom part, you stick your feet on those and you kind of wiggle it down so it's all the way in the ground. And then you move it back and forth to open a hole, and then you can stick a seedling in there really easily. It's just, and then you put the seedling in, then you take it out, and then you put the dibble bar behind the hole you just created and put the seedling in, and then you push the hole closed with the dibble bar and that your tree is planted. So it just makes planting seedlings a lot easier than using a shovel, but the shovel does work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Indigo. I will be in touch. I am able, like the Triangle Land Conservancy, if it's someone who's here on that call, I've already reached out to Patrick to borrow theirs because they have several, but I need more than that. We're the big planting. So, all right, Indigo, I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Tanya, did you want to plug the garden tour?
Oh, certainly. Yes, Keep Durham Beautiful's third annual garden tour is coming up on May 2nd and 3rd, and we expect tickets will go on sale in about a month, but we are currently seeking sponsors, and also we are still accepting applications for gardens. So if you know of a garden that you think should be on the tour, or if you know somebody who might like to sponsor it, we would love to hear from them. DurhamGardenTour.org. That link in there. Thank you, Dawn. And I was also just looking for the upcoming invasive plant removal activities that we have. We've been having monthly invasive plant removal
Yeah.
volunteer
But
activities.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not sure if Madeline is still on the call, but our next event is actually very close to the Museum of Life and Sciences. It's at Glendale Heights Park, and that will be next Friday and Saturday. So if anyone wants to learn more about invasive removal projects or get involved, would love to see y'all out there. Oh, hey Madeline, if you wanna tell the MLS folks about the Glendale Heights event, it would be cool to get some museum folks out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll pass it along.
And I think Benita has her hand.
Yeah, I'll share quickly. It's a couple of months down the line yet, but we are partnering with Durham Parks and Rec on Black Birders Week, which is, I believe, May. It's towards the end of May. But we're actually doing a 2-day event. So it's Friday, Saturday. The Friday will be at our garden, and we're having a workshop on planting native pollinators to attract birds into your yard. And then on that Saturday, there's a partnership with New Hope Birding Alliance, as well as Durham Parks and Rec. So there'll be an hour tour, and then there'll be a birdhouse building session. And I'll just putting that plug out there now so that it's kind of in your mind, but a little closer in, I'll drop the flyer and get all that information out to you guys.
That's awesome, Benita. Definitely make sure you share that with me when it's available.
Okay.
Okay, I'll jump on the birding bandwagon and just mention that this coming weekend is the annual Great Backyard Birding event. People are interested in contributing data. It's just bird somewhere for 15 minutes, your backyard, out your window. Enter it in the app eBird from Cornell. And if you have any questions about that, you can email
Here's
me.
the link for the app, Marcia.
For the app. So let's see. I will find a link for the weekend event.
Okay.
And let me do that real quickly.
I
And
think I might have just found it. Is it thebirdcount.org?
might be. Let's see. Count
Great
that.
Backyard Bird Count.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great Backyard Bird Count. Yep, that's it. So if you go there, you'll get all the information you need about connecting with the app and just details about how to do it. It's really very simple. But again, if you haven't used that app, the app is actually called eBird. And it's what a lot of birders use whenever they go out birding, to record the data and keep our own personal list, but then also all that data goes to the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, which does really terrific conservation work for birds. So. Alrighty, well, hope everybody gets a chance to enjoy the sunshine today, and if you're want to brave the cold and the warmth tomorrow, and hope to see everybody next month. Thanks everybody for participating, and take care.